Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Sunday, October 5th, 2025. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. I see a number of new members here. I think somebody must have bought some memberships. Thank you for that. Yellow Margarine, Julia, PH, Happy Slappy, Yolandi de Jong, Nikki Olivier, Sean Colette. I have ancestors named Colette, by the way. Lisa Fundameva and Kyle Nadia. Welcome to all of you, as well as Charisse. Thank you. All right, so welcome back to the program. Lots to get into. What did Antoinette say? My brother died last night, 46. Father had a stroke. Oh my goodness, Antoinette. So sorry to hear that your brother passed away, and also your father having a stroke. I hope that they're not related. My goodness. Thoughts and prayers. That's really sad news. Sorry to hear that. Folks, let's get to the news. Lots to talk about. Don't forget, programming announcement after this broadcast. There may be a short break, and then I'll have Chris Ehlers on the program talking about transgenderism and a personal journey. Chris transitioned to being female and has detransitioned in recent years. We're going to talk about that coming up in the next broadcast. It's been another long weekend here, folks. I just got back from my trip out west, busy out there, and then I did 6 rugby broadcasts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, plus the news, plus other prepared videos. So, my goodness. All right, folks, let's get to the news. I got a lot to cover here. First off, supposedly blacklisted Russian cargo plane has landed in South Africa. Once again, thumbing the nose at the United States, thinking there'll be no consequences. The African National Congress has its head so far up its backside that it can lick its own nose. Blacklisted Russian cargo plane lands heavily loaded in South Africa. A Russian cargo plane on the U.S. blacklist due to suspicious flights landed heavily loaded in Uppington on Thursday, but departed with an empty cargo hold from Lansera later that day. The aircraft belongs to Moscow-based Abakan Air, which is blacklisted by the Treasury in June last year for transporting Russian military equipment. Aviation watchdog Blacklist.aero warned South African service providers not to refuel or service the plane due to outstanding debts, though payment arrangements were reportedly handled by a local company. The Aleutian IL-76, as part of the U.S. blacklist, landed heavily loaded in Uppington. When it later stopped for fuel at Lansera, the cargo was empty, raising questions about what it had been carrying. Last visible flight visible on flight radar for the aircraft shows that before the long flight to South Africa via Dar es Salaam, it had been in Iran for a considerable time. These operators regularly switch off their transponders so they're not visible to applications like Flight Radar 24. So, time for speculation. What did the Iranians give to South Africa's ANC? And why was it dropped off in Uppington? Pallet loads of dollars, perhaps? Pallet loads of dollars? So what's going on here? Wow. See, these people think it's still 1970 and nobody can follow this sort of thing. Anybody can watch this stuff by watching it online and figuring it out. My goodness. Yes, they could be gearing up for an election. Could be more money for an next election. So something odd is going on here. Why would a Russian plane land in Iran, then Tanzania, then come to South Africa fully laden? And what was on the plane? Well, parties are joining forces. GNU parties joined BOSA to form a new pact. Good Party, the Good for Nothing Party, Rise, Mzansi, and BOSA are expected to fully merge only in 2029. Unite for Change. This is old news. This was talked about months ago. The three parties are expected to fully merge in 2019 after the 7th administration's 5-year term ends, as they're all represented in the National Assembly and provincial legislatures. Combined, the three parties have 5 seats in the National Assembly. And Good and Rise and Mzansi are part of the 10-member joke Government National Unity. Wow. So a new political party. They've been talking about it since 2023. The leaders of council that they put together include Musi Maimani, Patricia DeLille, Zibi, and others, including Brett Herod from Grid. Memorandum of Agreement mandates to do policy review of the process. They have their differences. Of course they do. BOSA, Good and Rise Mzansi announced a new political party called Unite for Change. All the has-beens are getting together, folks. Yeah, Peter and Teresa. It's funny how that plane lands now. So this will be pure speculation. I'm going to make a video about this. This plane lands now after we find out that the Israeli debt was never paid. How stupid they think people are. I'll tell you what, if I was in Uppington, I'd be hanging out at the airport waiting for any trucks to show up to pick up the stuff that was dropped off there. Yep, blacklisted plane to land, likely carrying, who knows, probably money for the ANC to pay off their debt. It's not nuclear. Why would Iran give South Africa nuclear? They don't need nuclear. Fikile Mabalula's trail of cash payments revealed as AfriForum increases pressure to prosecute. My goodness, City Press coming with a news story against the ANC. Colonial argues the loan from Segers Yusuf Dokrat amounts to gratification, says the origins of several cash payments were not properly investigated. So, say it ain't so, Fikile. Are you a thief too? A crook? The chief executive of Boxing South Africa arrived at a travel agency with 150,000 rand in cash to pay for Fikile Mabalula's family holiday in Dubai. This is one of the striking findings in the police investigation into Mabalula's much-discussed trip to Dubai while he was Minister of Sport. AfriForum's private prosecution unit obtained a copy of the police docket and now demands the National Prosecuting Authority consider its decision not to prosecute Fikile Mabalula. Mabalula, now the ANC Secretary General, last week basted party members who were guilty of corruption. But at the end of 2016, Mabalula traveled to Dubai with his family and ran up a bill of 684,620 rand and didn't pay anything. By February 2017, he was scrambling to settle his debt at the Munland Travel and Yusuf Dokrat, a director of Seger Sport and then service provider to South African Sports Confederation, settled 300,000 of the account. Thereafter, other parties made 4 payments to the agency, including 150,000 handed over by Seshofelo Lecheka, chief executive Boxing SA. He later said he'd borrowed 300,000 from Dokrat after police investigated corruptions. Well. Fikile Mabalula exposed as another criminal in the ANC. Wow. Fikile Mabalula. They're all thieves. Every single one of these scumbags. Every one of them are thieves. And they tried to hide it. Thank you, AfriForum, for exposing it. This is why AfriForum and Solidarity are charged with treason, because they reveal the corruption endemic in this thieving scumbag party of the African National Congress. Well, we constantly hear about America has gun violence, but South Africans who are always moaning about America's gun violence ignore the gun violence in their own midst. 5 more people murdered in Shabin. 5 killed in early morning Gauteng tavern shooting. 5 people been killed, 6 others hospitalized after shooting in a tavern in Zitlobeni in Gauteng in the early morning hours of today. Police spokesman Brigadier Brenda Muradili said the 2 witnesses saw 2 men who were known in the community walk in the tavern and demand that one of the customers hand over his licensed firearm. A shot went off, and when the patrons ran outside, the suspects fired randomly. The patron with a firearm was shot and injured, and his firearm was taken. Police said that the man whose firearm was taken would be charged with contravening the Firearms Control Act for the negligent handling of his 9mm pistol. So a man had a firearm to defend himself, and thugs came to rob him, and he used his firearm, and he's being charged as a criminal. Do you see what's wrong with South Africa? He was defending himself, and he's being charged with a crime. 5 people killed. He didn't kill him, or we don't know. Well, the South African government is mulling a 25% chrome tax export because they're just greedy and they can't get enough money from Iran. The government mulling a 25% tax on exports of raw chrome to protect the local ferrochrome industry. It's too late for that, which is battling high electricity prices, thank you, Eskom, and shedding thousands of jobs. Business Times understands that a draft growth and inclusion strategy or framework to revive growth and create jobs in South Africa is proposing a 25% tax on exports of chrome to keep domestic prices lower. So their solution to the industry is to fine the people who ship the chrome abroad because it can't be processed in South Africa, thereby reducing chrome production and costing South Africans jobs. Do you see how stupid these communists are? How stupid they are? They want to put a tax on exporting chrome to protect the chrome industry in South Africa, which is collapsing anyway because of their stupid racist policies. My goodness, these people are stupid. I can't believe how popular this t-shirt is. Wow. I took a risk in buying it. Senzo Mkunu says, I'm not worried about anything. No, I will present my side. The corruption-accused police minister is suspended. Says he's unfazed by revelations in the Commission of Inquiry implicating him in alleged political interference. Speaking in a memorial lecture commemorating two struggle stalwarts, Simon Swaley and Mike Matetwa, in the Musa Dadla region of KwaZulu-Natal yesterday, he said he was ready to testify before the commission. I'm glad that I will get the opportunity to present my side of the story in the commission. Okay. I don't think we really care. Well, the Gauteng High Court has cleared the way for the government to be forced to pay $167 million in reparations from the apartheid era. The majority black government will have to pay reparations, which means you'll have to pay reparations in South Africa. The Good for Nothing Party has welcomed the Gauteng High Court ruling, which on Friday dismissed an application by the South African government to delay the $167 million constitutional damages case brought by families of victims and survivors of apartheid-era crimes. On Friday, the High Court in Pretoria ruled in favor of a group of survivors and families of victims of apartheid-era crimes who, together with the Foundation for Human Rights, have brought a case against President Ramaphosa and the government's application to indefinitely postpone or stay the $167 million in damages. Now, this is illegitimate. This was not part of the agreement to end the apartheid era. This is not right. This is not right. Well, speaking of that plane from Russia that's blacklisted that went through Iran and Dar es Salaam to land in Uppington, of all places, fully laden with something, pallet loads of cash. The legal dispute over the ANC's deadbeat ways continues. We thought this was resolved because it was falsely reported by the media that it had been paid. The legal dispute escalates ANC's $85 million debt. They owed $102 million plus $50 million in interest. And apparently they claim they paid off without any further information from the corrupt press who failed to follow up with the story. Yes, to Izulweni Investments. Is it the investments or is it the party company? I'm confused. The long-standing legal wrangle between ANC and Investments, a marketing company, yes, they're a marketing company, is far from over after lawyers representing the company threatened to obtain writs of execution for the movable assets at the party's provincial offices in a bid to recover a debt of $85 million. But they owed him $102 million. We were told it was paid. We were told it was paid. The writ, which was leaked in social media posts, has since been slammed by the ANC as an attempt to sensationalize the legal dispute between the two parties. The writ authorized the seizure of incorporeal property. In a media statement, the ANC said it has formally notified Zwini and their attorney through their legal representatives and forensic auditors about the motivation of the court order. Party spokesperson Malengu Bengu Motsiri revealed that the party's investigators have obtained a sworn affidavit from former ANC employee who admitted to being bribed to falsely claim that Zwini delivered banners and advertising materials. Wait a second. So now, after, this is from 2019, after refusing to pay the debt for 5 years, then a court determining that the debt was legitimate, and the sheriff of the High Court of Gauteng going and inventorying their items, and then magically Jabba the Hutt goes to Tehran, and then days later they pay off the bill of $102 million, but no mention of the fines and interest. Now they're claiming that they've got an employee who said that they were bribed to claim that this company provided banners. South Africa is so fucked. Oh my God. The country is so fucked. They just make shit up everywhere they go. They just make it up. Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. They come up with the most implausible stories here. Why were we never told that the employee was bribed in the first place 6 years ago? Because it isn't true. Because they're making this stuff up as they go. My goodness, folks, I don't know what to tell you here about the ANC except that they are just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Looks, folks, if it walks like a duck, if it talks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it waddles like a duck, it might be a duck. And you know, if it's not a duck, it might be a fucking goat.
A fucking goat outside.
It's just a goat.
No, it's a fucking goat.
Look, Mom, it's a fucking goat. It's the ANC. It's a fucking goat. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the ANC is the laughing stock of the world. There's no disputing that. This party is so stupid. The sky is blue. No, it's green. No, the sky is blue. No, it's green. Okay, the sky is green. No, it's not green. It's orange. What do you mean it's orange? Well, our employee was bribed to turn it orange. They're either dogs or either cats. Oh, gosh. Oh, my mind's going blank. Oh, my mind's going blank, folks. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's time for that.
You know, going to
my mind's going blank now.
What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track.
My mind's going blank now.
What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night I was on the television.
I was on the telephone.
On the telephone. With I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, lives reflected in the N-H-E-I. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was inflicting we're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Ah, damn it.
Anyway,
Let's reboot Joe.
my mind's going blank now.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think as the idea that
Come on, Junior.
the political coverage of
Spit it out.
I want to thank and recognize Dr. John
King it, and king it, and king it, and king it, and king a song.
Just forgive it all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. No idea. No idea. No idea.
I'm sorry. The ANC, their employee was bribed. They're telling us 6 years later, 7 years later, 6 years later. Yeah, 6 years later. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, here is an op-ed complaining about the Democratic Alliance. Imagine that. An op-ed complaining about the Democratic Alliance. Where is that goat at? I found the goat again. Here he is. It's a trap. It's a trap. Admiral Akbar. Oh, my goodness, folks. That little intermission was nice, wasn't it? The Democratic Alliance once warned about wasted votes. Now they're one of the wasted votes, according to Funzi Ngubeni. The hypocrisy of the highest order. Oh, okay. Except this op-ed doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Truth is, the only wasted vote in Gauteng today is a vote for the DA. John Steenhuisen claims votes for parties like Action SA only empower the ANC. Yet the DA sits comfortably in the bloated cabinet of the government of national unity, governing with the ANC, Patriotic Alliance, and others. I'm sorry, that's a vote at the national level there, genius. You're talking about Joburg. Anyway. Fresh anti-government protests taking place in Madagascar, folks. This is a couple days ago. Protests continued across Madagascar as anger grew over mismanagement and power outages. At least 22 people were killed in a crackdown, according to the United Nations. Opposition parties, NGOs, and foreign embassies call for dialogue and an end to repression by the government of Madagascar. Al-Shabaab fighters attempt to assault a prison, and they're killed. Attackers wore military uniform and rode vehicles imitating security forces to breach a high-security prison in the capital. All 7 attackers who stormed a major prison complex in Mogadishu have been killed following an hours-long gun battle with the largest such assault on the capital in recent months. The al-Shabaab group attacked the Godka Jilo underground prison complex known to hold fighters from the armed group. The government said the assault began with a car bomb blast followed by an exchange of heavy gunfire and explosions which rang out across the city with 3 members of security forces killed during efforts to quell the attack. In a statement, al-Shabaab, an al-Qaeda affiliate, admitted that it launched the attack to free some of its members from the prison, but they failed. Thousands are fleeing Cameroon after Boko Haram raids leave Nigerian towns in ruins. They're fleeing to Cameroon, I should say. Thousands of militants attacked Kirawa town in northeastern Nigeria's Borno state, forcing all 5,000 residents to flee their homes. The attackers burned homes, vehicles, and local chief's palace, leaving Kirawa completely deserted. This attack reflects a troubling uptick in jihadist violence since 2024. Yep. The Islamic State West Africa is continuing its offensive. Syria is counting the votes for an electoral college decision to have its first post-Assad parliament. 2/3 of new legislators will be chosen by electoral college, while the rest will be appointed by interim president Ahmed al-Shara. The vote counting has begun in some districts in Syria's first parliamentary election since the overthrow of longtime ruler Bashar al-Assad. Speaking of which, where is he hiding at? Saudi Arabia? Nepalese villagers suffering terribly as the entire villages are swept away by heavy rainfall and landslides, leaving at least 44 dead. Landslides, a lightning strike, and flooding triggered by severe rainfall killed at least 44 people in Nepal today, with 5 others reported missing. Those killed include at least 37 people in the eastern mountain district of Ilam, where whole villages were swept away by landslides. Nepal's Disaster Management Risk Reduction and Management Authority said heavy rainfall was reported since Friday. 6 people in the same family were killed when a landslide crushed their home while they slept. Rainfall is hampering efforts. Helicopters are having trouble evacuating people from those villages in mountainous Nepal. OPEC says they're going to boost oil production to lower prices. The cartel wants to regain market share lost to the U.S. shale producers, Brazil and Guyana. Okay. The organization of petroleum exporting countries and its allies agreed on restraining oil output to increase the price. I bet the group can eke out more revenue without causing a crash in prices. 8 OPEC Plus members, led by Saudi Arabia, said they would boost production by 137,000 barrels a day in November, which is what they increased it by in October without much of an impact. So they're going to try and increase another 137,000. Hopes rise, and I think foolishly, there should nothing be coming of this. North Korea breakthrough as Trump and President Xi head to South Korea in October. Seoul will leverage the APEC forum to bring Pyongyang in from the cold. It's not going to happen, folks. The North Koreans are venal and will not agree to a peace. Remember that they're still at war, technically. In remarks widely picked up by South Korean media, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told CNBC on Thursday that Mr. Trump and Mr. Xi will have a pull-aside meeting at the end of the month. While Mr. Bessent was discussing trade, not North Korea, the venue he discussing was clear. South Korea hosts the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum from 21 October to 1 November. Both Chinese and U.S. leaders are expected to attend that summit. Japan's ruling party, well, first female prime minister in Japan's history. The election of Sanae Takaichi is a response to voter angst over immigration and other issues that is boosting conservatives and populists worldwide. So the right, Japan veers to the right. Yay! And we're very excited about that. A Pacific gateway shows that the Kremlin's grip on Russia's vast expanse. In a country where power is highly centralized, Moscow sets the tone for Vladivostok. Vladivostok is 4,000 miles away from Moscow. At first glance, Vladivostok, Russia's maritime stronghold and main trading hub in the Pacific, seems hardly Russian at all. A staple food is sea scallops. Streets climb steep hills that open in sweeping views of curved blue bays dotted by ships and lighthouses rather than Orthodox churches. Cars are almost universally right-hand drive, ferried from nearby Japan. Stores sell Korean noodles and gum. Yet a closer look shows that Vladivostok is deeply Russian, sharing one of the nation's defining features. Even here, 4,000 miles from Moscow, at the end of the world's largest country, attention is focused on the seat of power in the Kremlin. Moscow sets the city's preoccupations, its tone, its culture, and even its appearance. 2 of Vladivostok's former mayors, who have been serving time in penal colonies for corruption, are now fighting in the war in Ukraine to escape their sentences. They serve with thousands of other locals, many of them of Ukrainian descent. Vladivostok, in the Russian Far East. Well, the tariffs are forcing European pharmaceuticals to relocate to the States. Analysts say drug makers wouldn't risk a disadvantage in the U.S., the world's biggest economy and pharmaceutical market. U.S. tariff policy and its unmatched pharmaceutical market are pulling European drug makers to invest more heavily from new manufacturing plants in the U.S., stock listings, and discount pricing deals. Since early 2025, European drug makers have stepped up their U.S. presence. In the most recent move, UK's giant AstraZeneca announced a direct listing on the New York Stock Exchange just months after pledging to spend $50 billion in investments by 2030. UK headquartered Indivo dropped its London listing in July to trade solely on the Nasdaq, while Swiss giants Roche and Novartis unveiled U.S. expansion plans worth $23 billion and $53 billion, respectively. France's Sanofi has likewise committed $20 billion in American projects through 2030. Well. And they say Trump was wrong. America first. Yeah, love it. Yep, America first. Hundreds of thousands of lunatics protest in Turkey, the Netherlands, and Spain in support of the terrorist state of Palestine. Hundreds of thousands of people across several European countries marched Sunday in support of terrorist Palestinians and the aid flotilla, which is all about show and no substance. Istanbul held the largest of multiple demonstrations being staged in Turkey. Footage shows crowds walking from the iconic Hagia Sophia, where the Muslims built their mosque on top of an Orthodox church, to the banks of the Golden Horn, where they were greeted by dozens in boats decked in Turkish and Palestinian flags. The protests were, among others, planned for Sunday in European cities to mark the second anniversary of Hamas's attack. So isn't that interesting? They're marking the anniversary of the terror attack, not the oppression of the Palestinian people, not the death of civilians. They're marking 2 years since the terrorists murdered 1,200 people, beheaded, executed, gang raped, maimed, and kidnapped 1,200 people from around the world. This is what they're celebrating. Well, not all national parks remain open, but fortunately I was able to see the ones I needed to see before the shutdown. Some underground attractions are closed and many outdoor sites have reduced their services. Grand Canyon National Park remains open. National parks largely remain open, but there are exceptions. Even those that are open may produce services, like visitor centers. Joshua Tree National Park in California is open. Utah says Zion Arches, Canyons, Capitol Reef, Bryce remain open. Carlsbad Caverns will be closed because it's dangerous. Great Smoky Mountains National Park remains open because you mostly drive through it. Acacia remains open. White Sands National Park is closed, which is interesting. There's no reason to close it. The Washington, D.C. Museums and Attractions. Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia is closed. The Gateway Arch in St. Louis has been closed as well. Yellowstone was open. Grand Teton is open, but the visitor centers are closed. Also, it's that time of season when they're shutting down visitor centers anyway. Trump's team message for 2026. Just wait until 2026. The economy will flourish, they say. President Trump's advisors are counseling him to refine his economic mission with a pitch to voters aimed at easing their anxiety about weak jobs growth and stubborn inflation. There's no stubborn inflation. It's below 2%. I don't know what you're talking about, stubborn inflation there, Wall Street Journal. You captured former useful but now fake publication. After reports showed only 22,000 new jobs in August, Treasury... Well, wait a second. They said we lost 30,000 jobs. Now it says it's 22,000 we gained. That's a 52,000 job swing. Yeah, the media, just always shaping the narrative. Well, the push for the U.S. military to provide in vitro fertilization faces challenges in Congress. A proposal to expand the Department of Defense's healthcare plan to include in vitro is moving through Congress, but could die behind closed doors again. Chandler, a military spouse, recently got pregnant through in vitro fertilization, but had to shoulder high out-of-pocket costs because it's not covered by the Defense Department's insurance plan. Yep. Kathleen Whipple and her husband had dreamed of a big family but struggled to conceive. Upon his return from an overseas deployment with the Navy, the couple learned from a fertility doctor that her husband's sperm count was half what it had been before his most recent tour, which involved diving daily into water contaminated by heavy metals. To get pregnant, the couple was told they would need to undergo in vitro fertilization, a procedure that would cost over $25,000. And because they couldn't prove that their infidelity resulted from the circumstance of her husband's deployment, they would have to shoulder the entire cost themselves. See, this is the problem. The military destroys the fertility of its members through exposure to radiation, toxic chemicals, hazardous materials, and then does nothing to help them procreate. Sick. But I can go in now and say that I'm a woman. Tell my primary care physician in the Army clinic, I'm a woman. I don't have to have a psychological evaluation. I don't have to take hormones. I don't have to whack off my tallywhacker or my nads. All that stays. I just feel like a woman. Like Shania Twain, I feel like a woman. Yeah, that's all it takes. And the Army will change my sex to female, let me wear skirts and long hair with ponytails and pierce my ears and walk around. And when I'm ready, they'll pay for the hormones. They'll pay for the tallywhacker being cut off. They'll pay for the surgery. And they make me a woman. But they will not pay for in vitro fertilization for soldiers whom they've made infertile or damaged their process. That's been the policy all along. And the sex change thing has been around since just before Trump became president. He suspended it. It's back now. Now, how is that right? How is that right? Well, Trump gives Hamas until today to accept the ceasefire deal. President Trump gave Hamas a hard deadline of Sunday evening to accept the ceasefire deal to end or face hell. An agreement must be reached by Hamas by Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Washington time. 5.5 hours from now, folks. Every country is signed on. If the last chance agreement is not reached, all hell like no one has ever seen before will break out against Hamas. There will be peace in the Middle East one way or another. Wow. Well, that tells me that if Hamas doesn't sign the deal, the United States will join the war against the terrorists. That's my expectation based on the statement. Well, Trump is boosting coal production. Yay! Good for states like Wyoming and West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Trump coal boost gains momentum as bids and land open up. Leases awarded in Alabama and Utah. New mines approved in Tennessee and Wyoming. More than 13 million acres open to coal mining this year alone. Yes. Trump administration's drive to boost the United States coal production is gaining momentum with coal lease bids awarded in Alabama and Utah, new mine permits issued in Tennessee and Wyoming, and late September is opening more than 13.1 million acres of federal mineral estate across 6 western states to coal mining. Yes, unleashing American energy. We're back. We're back, baby. Trump says no delay will be tolerated in the hostage release. So you got till 6 p.m., boys. I appreciate Israel's temporarily stopped the bombing in order to give the hostages release and peace deal a chance to be implemented. Hamas must move quickly or else all bets are off. I will not tolerate delay, which many think will happen, or any outcome where Gaza poses a threat again. Let's get this done fast. Everyone will be treated fairly. They've been warned. They think Trump is playing around. He's not Joe Biden. He's not Barack Obama, a line in the sand, which is tolerated. Trump authorizes sending in the National Guard to Illinois. Pritzker's going to love this. J.B. Pritzker is going to love this. Yep, Trump is sending in the Guard. In Oregon, a judge blocked him. What authority does this judge have to block the President of the United States from sending troops to defend the nation? They have no such authority. And in Illinois, President Trump is pressed ahead with plans to mobilize federal troops in cities led by demon rats, this time in Illinois. He plans to federalize 300 members of the Illinois National Guard over the objection of Tubalard Pritzker. Good. Get rid of these scumbag criminal alien invaders. Dogzilla, are you here? You want to call that hate again? It's called rule of law. Agents shot a woman accused of ambushing a vehicle on Border Patrol in Chicago. Federal immigration agents shot at a woman they said was attempting to use her vehicle to run down officers in Chicago on Saturday, calling it the latest in an escalating string of violence against those carrying out President Trump's immigration plans. Border Patrol agents were patrolling when their government vehicle was boxed in and ran by civilian cars. So just take these people out. They're presenting a serious threat to public safety. Well, according to the Washington Compost, President Trump would limit disability benefits for older Americans. Trump administration officials are considering eliminating age as a factor in deciding whether someone is capable of working. Okay, how does that eliminate benefits? Trump administration is preparing a plan that will make it harder for older Americans to qualify for Social Security disability. Part of an overall overhaul in the federal safety net for poor. Currently, the Social Security Administration evaluates disability claims by considering age, work experience, and education to determine if a person can adjust to other types of work. Older applicants, typically over 50, have a better chance of qualifying because age is treated as a limitation in adapting to many jobs. Well, I find that insulting. Age is not a limitation. Age is not a limitation. It should not be considered a factor. Jan Joubert has been watching me since May and just had the best news ever. Today got a call from FT interview. And without me, it would not be possible. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say that, Jan Joubert, but President Trump made it happen. I just reported on honestly and analyzed it and got people. And it's Sunday. You just got a call. See, they work all weekend, and people badmouth them all the time, trash talk them. Well, retraining the TikTok algorithm, not enough if app remains characteristics. If the app retains its nasty characteristics. TikTok is banned in China, where its parent company ByteDance runs the China-only Douyin video app instead. Funny how TikTok is banned in China, but they have it in America. When Trump administration officials announced the U.S. TikTok deal that it was imminent, they stressed that the deal would bring the popular social media app algorithm completely under U.S. control. Well, will it? The source code, but that's not going to be enough. TikTok is evil. It's evil. U.S. District Judge in Oregon has blocked President Trump from sending troops to Portland. How? What authority does he have to overrule the President of the United States? A district judge. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, the shutdown blame game picks up pace, and Sunday talk shows no doubt will have a lot of finger pointing. House Speaker Mike Johnson said Democrats could vote to turn the lights back on, but instead they refused to engage in serious conversation about the House-approved 7-week stopgap bill. Louisiana Republicans said the Senate Minority Leader Chucky Schumer is backing more than $1 trillion in new spending and even the government shutdown, not out of principle, but self-preservation. According to the House Speaker, Schumer is trying to shield himself from pressure on his party's left, where some progressives are pushing Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to challenge him for his seat in 2028. They're doing this to get political cover because Chucky Schumer is afraid he won't win his next election bid because he's going to be challenged by a Marxist in New York. Well, the Democrats claim it's a different story. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Republicans have gone radio silent since meeting with Democrats earlier in the week and are reeling because they are losing in court of public opinion. They're not. The Republicans are not losing in court of public opinion. Democrats, 65 to 35%. People blame this on the Democrats in multiple polls. Yeah, nice try, Hakeem the Dream. You are a loser. It's Tubbillard Pritzker, the billionaire scumbag, governor of Illinois, condemns Trump's immigration crackdown amid rising tensions in Chicago. Fat-ass J.B. Pritzker is raising alarm over what he describes as aggressive and indiscriminate immigration enforcement by the Trump administration in Chicago, claiming that U.S. citizens, including children and the elderly, are being harassed by federal operations. Really? Really? Where's your evidence of that? Where's your evidence of that? There is no evidence because he's making up. Labor unions are suing President Trump. Over what, you might ask? Well, for blaming the Democrats for the shutdown. The unions are suing Trump because he blames the Democrats.
My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm the president.
I keep forgetting I'm the president.
Last night,
I was on television. I mean a telephone. I was on a telephone.
Rapidly rising.
So a union is going to sue the president because he blames the Democrats. The largest federal labor union sued the Education Department on Friday, accusing it of a free speech violation by inserting language into employees' emails blaming the government shutdown on Democrats. The American Federation of Government Employees said the automatic email rewrites force employees to adopt the president's own language and makes a mockery of the Hatch Act, which limits employees' engagement in political campaign activities. Without giving notice to their employees, let alone obtaining their consent, the Department of Education has replaced employees' out-of-office email messages with partisan language that blames Democratic senators for the shutdown. Employees are now forced to involuntarily parrot the Trump administration's talking points with mail sent out of their names, in their names. Well, it's not your mail. It belongs to the Department of Education. And while I find it distasteful that the Department of Education would do that, there's nothing wrong with it. Oh, my goodness. Many services remain intact, including law enforcement, other essential jobs, but national parks. Anyway, so they're suing Trump they're suing Trump because the Department of Education put auto replies. It overrode the auto replies where people put the little emojis and graphics and Pikachu in their emails, which they shouldn't be doing official email. And so they're suing over that. Well, get your freak off going, baby. Baby oil. Where's the baby oil? Get it out. Oh, yeah. Folks, you shouldn't drink baby oil. You should just lather up with it. Sean P. Diddy Combs gets 48 months in prison. Woo, baby. For prostitution. He's a pimp daddy. I can hear it next. Sean P. Diddy Combs' next rap song. I'm a pimp daddy. Pimp daddy. P. Diddy, pimp daddy. Yeah, his mind's going blank. Not the only thing going blank for P. Diddy in prison. Sean Diddy Combs gets 4 years in prison for a case involving sex workers, violence, and his freak-offs. Sentenced on Friday to 4 years and 2 months in prison for transporting people across state lines for sexual encounters. Capping a sordid federal case that featured harrowing testimony and ended in a forceful reckoning for one of the most influential figures in hip-hop. Since Combs has already served 1 year in jail, that means that the 55-year-old could get out in about 3 years. While prosecutors sought a sentence of more than 11 years, his lawyers wanted him freed immediately and said the time behind bars had already forced his remorse and sobriety. He was convicted in July of flying his girlfriends and male sex workers around the country to engage in drug-fueled sex encounters in multiple places over many years. Male sex workers, his girlfriends. Where was my invite? Where was my invite? I didn't get invited to the freak-offs. Well, a man who used the Denver airport for 37 minutes was charged $20,000 for parking. This sounds like something the ANC would use for the Haotang tolls. Baby oil, brake fluid. My goodness. Yes. A man who used the Denver International Airport parking garage for less than an hour on Thursday was charged as if he used it for 4 months. Glen Haven, Colorado resident Jim Boyd told Denver's KUSA TV that he parked the airport for 27 minutes on Thursday so he could drop off his wife. The fee should have been $7, which is excessive in itself. Instead, the system charged him as if he parked since June 6th, more than 169,000 minutes, and almost 4 months in total. Airport officials told the TV station the system confused Mr. Boyd's license plate for that of another car with a nearly identical plate, with one having a B in the spot where the other had an 8. 9,000 minutes, $19,824. Oh my goodness. That's just insane, folks. Absolutely insane. Oh, P. Diddy. It's the freak off. Get your freak off on, man. We should do a P. Diddy song. P. Diddy will love Bubba long time. Yep. Have a look at SA Refugees Haotang Group and note that the lady who has a TikTok account is an ex-South African, lives in Texas. Have a look at her comments. What's that about, Maze? You are not an ex-South African unless you become a citizen of another nation. A freak off. What poll do you want now, crypto noob? People are going insane. Yeah, Sean, the world is upside down. When P. Diddy comes out, he's going to look like a blob. Maybe. Baby oil will be sold once he gets out. Only 4 years for sex trafficking, viciously assaulting women. Correct? That's the actual real point here, Chief Wolf. He only gets 4 years and 2 months in prison for his crimes against all these people. But he's probably going to lose hundreds of millions in civil lawsuits. You watch. He spent the rest of his life in litigation. Yep. Gus says, make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe, folks. YouTube is stealing my subscriptions left and right. Yep. Well, we're back up. We were down to 81. We're back up to 89. We were at 727, and they took it down. Every day, what happens is YouTube is taking my subscribers away. I'm not the only one. It's happening to a lot of people. I don't know what their problem is and what they're doing. There's no way these people are just subscribing and disappearing. Some of them are trolls. They pop in and out. I get that. All right. So I'm going to have fun making a video here shortly when I go off air about the Uppington flight and the Russian Ilyushin 76. Yep. He has Fellaton. What is that, Chris? I got Katie laughing. Okay. We got 327 likes, 437 people here. What's up with that, folks? I know that was Mr. Trump, but I want to thank you for telling us about this. Oh, no, you're welcome, John. John Joubert. Yeah, no, you're right. Trump made it possible, but I have been the one person who's been honest about it the whole time along. I mean, not the only one, but the one person who's been consistent about this. And my analysis has been pretty much spot on. And the only time, so people lie about me and slander me and libel me in the press and social media people, and they're all proven to be fools because every time they lie about me, it comes back, it snaps back on them, proving that they're just fools. It's funny. TikTok is a bunch of rubbish. It's full of idiots dancing and challenges. Take your wife and throw in the air. Let's see if you can lift your... Yeah, exactly, Marissa. Interesting, Army Captain Dylan Blaha, running for Illinois Congress seat, telling lower ranks to defy orders. Yeah, that guy needs to go to jail. That guy needs to go to jail. He's in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Making political speeches like that and also encouraging people to violate the law. Girlfriend got her email today with her unique ID. We did add myself as her partner. Hope will be included. Well, I don't know, Etienne, because you're not married, if that works. Good luck. Krista will watch Chris's interview tomorrow, okay? 3 mass shootings in the United States yesterday, October 4th. It's very safe. Oh, it's very safe, Pablo. Let's see. In the past week, I've been to Boise, Twin Falls, Salt Lake City, Afton, Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Rexburg, Sun Valley, Harrisburg, Chicago, Dallas. Wait, let me see. Oh, okay. No bullet holes. No bullet holes here. No shots. Pablo, Charlie, take your nonsense elsewhere. 330 million people. 450 million firearms. And a couple shootings. Most of those shootings occur in the same place. Almost all of these shootings that are never talked about occur in neighborhoods, in urban centers that are overwhelmingly populated by a certain demographic, a certain group of people, which doesn't make that group of people evil. It just means that the government covers the stuff up and the media covers up. Who are most of the shooting offenders in this country? Anybody want to guess? A certain gender and a certain race. But when you talk about it, you're a racist. You're a bigot for simply reporting factual information. And why does that happen? Because that group of people are evil? No, that's good people. But when 78% of them are bastards, illegitimate, and grow up in a home without a father, and their preoccupation life is to stick their schlong and knock up teenage girls while wearing their pants with their ass crack exposed and getting involved in gangs and drugs, well, you begin to see why so many shootings occur in those neighborhoods, endangering the safety of good people. That's the bottom line there, folks. That's the truth. People don't want to talk about the truth. People don't want to talk about the truth. Over half of all murders are committed by one demographic, which represents a total of 6% of the population of America. Less than 6%, 5.5. Well, 5.75. 5.75% of Americans happen to be this gender and this race, yet that group accounts for 51% of the murders in this country. Does that, but see, because they're stupid, they then assume that that means that you're saying that that group is bad. Never said that. Wonderful people in that group. But that group has a problem. That's like when we talk about transgenderism, and I'm upset about that. I'm not upset about the fact that people have gender dysphoria. I have empathy for them. I'm upset about the political objective of using that issue to poison the minds of children and harm them physically when they're not gender dysphoric, the majority of them, for a political purpose. That's the issue there. They can't handle the truth. They can't handle the truth. Prostate cancer. I'm sorry to hear that, Helen. That sucks. Do you not think it's people who are mentally unstable? No, it's not just mentally unstable. There are people who are evil. There are people who are actually freaking terrorists. People are actually murderers and gangsters. There are psychopaths who have no compunction about murdering people. The one time I truly lost my crap on this program for the OGs that were here, guys, remember this. What video was that? It was a video of a mother, a black woman in Chicago in broad daylight, holding her infant. They rushed up there, pulled up behind her in a car, rushed up and executed her. She turned to protect her child and fell and was shot in the head by them. All caught on camera. This was during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. The child survived. The mother, of course, was executed. For what? In broad daylight, in a residential neighborhood. Black lives don't matter. Not to those scumbags. Mass shootings aren't the same as gang-related shootings or assassinations. You're wrong, Pablo Charlie. You're completely wrong. You're completely wrong. We just had a mass shooting in Shabin in South Africa. 5 people murdered. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same. That was done by gangs. Well, Andrea Jackson, I agree with you. There's lots of things that don't make sense. And they want to let 16-year-olds vote. What about Amy Beale? Oh, are people talking about Amy Beale because Willem Petzer made a video about it? Good Lord, I've talked about Amy Beale every single year since I've been on the air. Nobody seems to give a crap until Willem Petzer makes a video about it. Yeah, apparently he made a video because it popped up on my screen about Amy Beale. Bets, I didn't know you had a subscription. That's YouTube or your card wouldn't process. But thank you. You mean your subscription or your membership? Your subscription was canceled by YouTube because they're evil and they're trying to destroy my channel, which is what they always do. Yeah, Eric remembers me losing that one, yep. Chief Wolf says, Pablo Charlie has never said anything that remotely makes sense. I blocked that idiot a long time ago. You hear that, Pablo Charlie? Yeah, but it's because of YouTube. So look, I've told this story many times. Hendo is a moderator on my channel. 4 years ago, on the same day, 4 times his subscription was removed. As a moderator. He was still a moderator, but no longer a subscriber. How the hell does that happen? I don't know. We'll see again. Bets, I'm not sure what that means. Not because of Petzer, you got it right from the get-go. Yeah, no, Garrett, but I mean, Willem Petzer just did something. He made a sensational video. I didn't watch it. It might be very good about Amy Beale. Yeah. And James Duvall lost his subscription too, even though he's a paying member. Yeah, I've had paying members who are unsubscribed. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Cape Town groups. Guys, I don't care if there's Cape Town groups. I don't know why you guys want to get involved with that. Uppington Flight. Venice, yeah. I meant to do that earlier. So you're a cowboy. What is that? Federal workers, district judges included among federal workers that Russell fought can fire. Who's Russell fought? I don't know what that's you're talking about, Anthony. How long have I been doing this? Well, I retired from active duty in October of 2019. I was in Japan when I went off of active duty for the Rugby World Cup. I came home a few days after that as a civilian, a retiree. And I had started a consultancy to get U.S. businesses to invest in Africa. I started getting serious with that in January as the rumblings started talking about Wuhan. Tucker Carlson on his Fox report back when I would still watch Tucker Carlson said that there was this disaster looming in a town called Wuhan that no one's talking about, and it's going to affect the United States and the world. And he was right. First week of January of 2020. So I started my consultancy. I had a few gigs booked where I was going to go to West Africa and provide business services and make a lot of money. And then the COVID scam started. So I started saying, what can I do other than exercise? My hip wasn't bothering me then, so I was still walking twice a day for 2 or 3 hours. staying fit. And so I decided to keep my mind fit too by making videos. I made prepared videos about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, counterterrorism in Africa, economic activity in Africa, things like that. And that was starting in February of 2020. So I've been doing it since February 2020. So 5.5 years I've been doing this. And YouTube has shadow banned me for most of those 5.5 years. The only time they didn't shadow ban me was the first 4 or 5 months. And I went from 2 to 23,000 subscribers. Then they took away my channel unjustly, illegitimately. I didn't break the rules. And then they came back and restored my channel 23 months later. But in the meantime, I started this channel the week that my channel was suspended. And it grew from nothing to 20,000 subscribers over the course of April of 2021 till December 31st of 2024. In late December of last year, I started making prepared videos again. I kind of eased up on that because almost nobody was watching them. You put hours into making a video and 3,200 people watch it, you're not influencing much of the world. And that's what I'm trying to do, is influence the world for the better. So I did a video on Nobbs McKeezy and her racist verbal and physical assaults against flight attendants and passengers on the FlySAF Air flight in late 2024. And 50,000 people watched it. I'm like, okay, so I did another video analyzing it and more people watched it. So I started making videos again, and then I caught the algorithm at the right time and I started growing again after deciding I'd never be bigger than 20,000 subscribers. So the channel took off again. I started growing and growing and growing. And then Trump became president and it took off again because I did a lot of coverage of Trump and people were interested in that, my analysis. And then February 7th hit. And I have to go back and look and see how many subscribers do we have on February 7th. Let me look at that. Subscribers. Come on, YouTube. It always does this when I want to see the analytics. There we go. Yeah, by the way, we only had 18,000 people watch yesterday, 19,000 on Friday, and 22,000 on Thursday. Wow. Almost nobody watching. That's not a lot. Okay, so I want to look at subscribers, and we'll look at 2025. Okay. All right. So on February 6th, I had 30,800. Now, I gained 10,000 subscribers in January and the first week of February, which is 1/3 of my total after 4.5 years. That's before Trump announced the refugee program, 30,000. Then he announced the program, and I jumped from February. By May, I was at 87,000. I hit 100,000 on June 4th, if I remember correctly. June 4th, yeah. June 4th of 2025 hit 100,050 subscribers. Since then, June, July, August, September, in 4 months, I've gained just 12,000 subscribers, which I'm happy about. But you can see I gained 10,000 in January before Trump came in, before the refugee program. And then I went to 100,000. I gained another 80,000 from February until June. February, March, April, May, June. In 5 months, I gained 80,000 subscribers, 70,000 subscribers in 5 months. Now I've gained 12,000 in the ensuing time. Yeah, YouTube is, and my content's the same. I'm still covering the same sort of things, but YouTube's just whatever. I'm not here to cry about YouTube. It is what it is. Craving chocolate. Ooh, chocolate brownies. Do you know? Okay, I already answered that question. South African farmers being treated as cheap labor. By whom? Andrea says your daughter loves my Pikachu. I love my Pikachu too. It's my buddy back there. Lindy, thank you for your membership. 6 months. Truth, Colonel. Thank you for your speaking truth. You're welcome, Frankie Veldhagen. East London, Melbourne, Australia, Haiti, Rio, Brazil has left the chat. What? One if mandatory psychometric tests to be applied to people. I don't know. For that matter, there is standout people from that group in your government. Think the possible governor candidate Republican for Virginia seems... Oh, yeah, she's pretty amazing. Can't understand that we are not in any way part of the refugee program. How come we are not called yet? I'm not funny, but it does not look good for my family. Anna, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any answer for you. I'm sorry. Serum injections. Okay, now I'm catching up here. Well, I only sort of watched you before February 7th. I've come to enjoy your news approach outside just right. Well, thank you, Vanner. I appreciate that. Alan got COVID bad. Coma. Well, I never had COVID. Sorry to hear you had COVID, especially you had it bad. How does Eric Adams' exit affect New York mayoral race? It makes it easier for Mamdani and me to win. If Adams stayed in the race, he would have sucked 10% of the vote away from the Democrats candidates. And with Cuomo in the race, probably taking as many as 20%, that meant that there was a small chance that Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels, as a Republican, could win the race with a plurality of votes. But he's not polling very well. So Mamdani, the Marxist, Islamist, fascist, will be the next mayor of New York. It's like London all over again. New York is already a crap hole. It's destined now for misery and anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-Jewish savagery. Yep, that's what's coming. Any info on the SA diplomat who apparently fell in Paris? There are lots of conspiracies. Yeah, he offed himself, Anton. He offed himself. He is implicated in the Imquinazi probe. His name is mentioned as former police minister as being involved in the corruption, and so he took a long walk off of his short balcony, and he offed himself. There's no conspiracy here. Yep, at least I don't think there is. Lindy says, thank you, Colonel, that I find you here every day. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. The Bugger Off Bunny is right here. Bob is right here. Yep. Yeah, people are hoping the Adams voters will flock to Cuomo. So at this point, grabby, sexual abuser Cuomo is a much better option for New York. Video of the Old Faithful Geezer is something else. It's just amazing. You're very welcome, Kathy. I'm glad I shared it. Okay, your video of the park with the old lava flows reminded me of my time in Cameron. Okay. What do you think that this blacklisted Russian cargo plane offloaded in Uppington? Cash? Cash? I don't know what else it brought. Probably ammunition. Probably a lot of ammunition. Trump is not Superman. He can't solve everything. He should devote 99% of his time to AI race against China. No. These groups will drive you nuts. Yeah, that's why I'm not advising people to join WhatsApp, Telegram, or even Facebook groups, because you're just going to make yourself miserable listening to cockprodders who don't know what they're talking about. They vanish in accounts. Mamdani is only popular because God does not want to work, and everyone. What is Gens? Yes, the Lady R. Yep, in Simonstown. Now this plane. It's not the first one. There was also a Russian-sanctioned plane that landed in Waterkloof a couple years ago. Yep. Well, Valerie, is a very simple explanation for that. Why Uppington? That's strange. It should have been in Gauteng or in Cape Town. The South African Defense Force has Soviet weapons and Chinese weapons, and they need ammunition for the training. So, yeah. Generation Z. I don't know what that means. I will make enemies, but at least I will share the truth, says Mad Max. Well, lots of people sharing the truth. I'm not talking about you, Mad Max, from what they think is true, from their perspective, and they're not always right. Gen Z. Anyway, so there you have, folks. That's the news. Saudi does not need to buy anything. They can be flown on a cargo plane from Iran. That's true. They're not buying anything. They're getting pallet loads of cash. Isn't it interesting? There's still an army base. Yes, there's an army base in Uppington. That's correct. There's one in Zairust. There are plenty in Joburg and especially in Pretoria. Yep. Plastic blow-up dolls. Uppington makes sense. They think it's off-grid and will be less likely to be seen. Yeah, it's Summary. Makes sense. Shady plane definitely won't help USA-South Africa relations. Hope it's being investigated. Ronell would love to meet me when you get here. Love your honesty. Well, thank you, Ronell. Appreciate that. Anna Marie now is here. And we're not talking about the Formula One. She must be desperate to watch the program. The military training base at Lahotla is close to Uppington. Correct. That's why I said it's probably ammunition. But there's also probably money on the plane. That's why it landed in Iran. I ran that red sand. Plenty in Uppington. I'll bet you did, Alan. Articulate your point. Chris, you also get boomers and millennials. Yeah, what are we talking about, Marissa? I'm well aware of that. I am a shoulder child, so to speak. I'm the last of the baby boomers, but technically, legally, or not legally, but by the definition of baby boomers from 1945 to December 31st, 1964, I just fall into the baby boomer group. I am the youngest. I am the wet behind the ears of the baby boomers. But I've normally been carried and considered for much of my life by marketing and by government as a Gen Xer because I was born right there at the start. So youth today would like to do no work and receive all the benefits. Exactly. That's what they want. And complain about everything. And blame it all on evil white people. The groups are very helpful when people arrive in the States about where to buy things and clothing. Well, why would there be Cape Town groups? How can that help somebody in the States if there are Cape Town groups? I don't understand that. Angelique, welcome to you. Well, if you're born between 1945, I think it's actually July, maybe the beginning of 45. It was really when the troops came back from 45, so June of 45 until December 31st of 64. That's the baby boom. Excuse me. The next group was a Gen X, then Gen Z, then Millennials. And they ran out of things to call people. Phase 2, Bush. Yep, I got you. Inkwell Odyssey is the youngest Gen Xer, probably born on January 1st. Erica's a boomer. Yep. Uppington Lohatla is okay. Okay, thank you, Stefan Ruiz. Yep, no, I know about that. Right. How are we doing here? 8th South African Infantry Battalion. 8 SAI. Yep. Lohatla is the training area up there. We've had Marines up there in the past. Yep. Well, folks, big rugby weekend this weekend. We had the Stormers winning 26-10 over the Dragons at DHL Greenpoint Stadium. Then the Sharks, in a turgid performance, they should have won. No, it wasn't the Dragons. That was the Ospreys, excuse me. Against the Dragons, the Sharks tied 17-7 on the road. They should have won the game. Then we had the All Blacks beating the Wallabies in Perth, South Africa East. And then we had the Springboks defeating the Pumas 29-27 in a game. It should have been much bigger score than that. But they managed to win the rugby championship back-to-back. First legitimate time they've ever done that. Congratulations. This, no doubt, this cohort of people playing for the Springboks in the past 6 years is going to go down in history as the greatest Springbok team ever. No doubt about that. And especially if they win the next World Cup, it would just be amazing. It would be 3 in a row. It would be so great to rub it in New Zealand's face. It's like when a puppy pisses on the carpet and you take its nose and you rub it in there. We'll take the All Blacks and rub their noses into the carpet. Take that. Here's your haka. Wouldn't that be so great? We already have 4 World Cups. Win the 5th World Cup with 3 in a row. That would be so funny. I should go ahead and use Gemini now to make an image of the All Blacks having their nose rubbed into the turf by the Springboks after we win the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I'm an All Blacks hater. There's no doubt about that. That's right, Hendo. I'm definitely one of those. Would we be able to withstand a war against America? Who, PK? Who is we? You talking about South Africa? Hell, South Africa wouldn't be able to stand a war against me and 30 guys I gather. Oh, my goodness. What's that movie, the geese, the wild geese or something like that? Yeah, they would be defeated by that mercenary group, the wild geese. I think it's wild geese. Yeah, 1978 film, The Wild Geese. Yeah, with Richard Burton, Roger Moore, Richard Harris, Hardy Kruger. Yeah. Yeah, that group of mercenaries would stop them. 1978 film starring an ensemble cast led by Richard Burton, Roger Moore, Richard Harris, and Hardy Kruger. The film, which was directed by Andrew Langton, was the result of a long-held ambition of producer Ewan Lloyd to make a venture film in the veins of The Guns of Navarone and Where Eagles Dare. The plot concerns a group of European mercenaries fighting in Africa. The film is named after the wild goose flag and shoulder patch used by Michael Mad Mike Horace's 5 Commando ANC, which in turn was inspired by the flight of the wild geese. Yep. So it was not a bad movie. Hardy Kruger, man. Died in 2022 at 93. Wow. He just died at 2022. He was 93. Died in Palm Springs. Hardy Krüger was born as Eberhard August Franz Ewald Krüger, 1928. He was a German actor and author who appeared in more than 160 films from 1944 onwards. Wow. Hardy Krüger. 93 he lived to be. Yeah. Wow. The frighteningly talented and skilled generation are just below the surface. The junior bucks and current under 18. Yeah, no, Anthony, I think you're right. There's a lot of talent coming up. Am I still doing the interview? Yes, Free Spirit. It's at 2 p.m. Is something wrong? It's scheduled for 2 p.m., is it not? That's 8 o'clock South Africa time. Let me just check. I think that's when I set it for. Yeah, that's after this. You're going to be directed to it after this. Yeah, 2 p.m. Of course I'm still in it. Yep, I'm going to take a break here shortly, record a video about that plane in Uppington. One of the admins checked my profile. Truecaller advised me. Okay. I don't know why I'm so with Chris E on that. Guys, I'm only asking because people seem delusional about military power. Military power is only as good as the leadership. And, even with poor resources and undersupplied, people can do amazing things. Linda Fundanes gave 35 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. The clouds are gathering. Is there anything South Africa can do to save itself? Yes, it can. It can elect me benign dictator for 5 years, and I will turn the country around starting in less than 3 months. Yeah. You can vote out the ANC in municipal elections everywhere in 2026, 2027. That's how you save yourself. The moths. Okay. All you have to do is beat the SA army, is let them chase you. They would not make it. After your video, watch how crap practice will react. Huh? Practice? What are you talking about? All right. There's an Instagram video of Rossi Erasmus laying on his back singing, I woke up this morning a champion. Okay. Colonel Cookie says, I'm new to YouTube. Are there any real conservative South African YouTubers? Yeah, there are some conservatives. Koketso Retsani, Dumodenga are conservatives. Unati Kwaza is a conservative. Big Daddy Liberty is a conservative, but he's not broadcasting anymore. There are a lot of genuine conservatives in South Africa. Ronaldo, he's becoming conservative. Rob Hersoff is pretty conservative. Joe Emilio's, he's centrist, but right of center. Yeah, there's some real ones out there. Gareth Cliff has become more conservative over the years. Buffelspoort Dam this weekend. No fishing allowed this time of year. A few Indian men came in for the evening and were fishing. Nobody had the guts to say something. Because people are cowards. They're afraid of being called a racist or having cases filed against them. They have to spend money to defend themselves. So people get away with anything. Impunity is out of control in South Africa. You dodgy if your ID starts with 20X. Ronaldo has seen the light, says Garrett. Yeah, I've seen some of it. Age is a number. It doesn't define us. Fitnut Innovations. I can't believe I'm 59 again this year. I don't feel 59 even with my hip. I mean, that's a separate issue. I mean, I've had injuries before, but this is a lingering one. I certainly don't look it. I mean, I'm not all wrinkly. Look at this. This is, I see people my age, younger than me, who look like they're 75. Their face is all wrinkly. Their skin's not fresh. They're bald. Good DNA, good genes, or maybe the radiation from Chernobyl gave me some super ability. I don't know. But I'm telling you, man, I don't look or feel the age that my ID says I am. That's for sure. Lindy feels 102. Mom is always 21. There you go, Fitnut. How can people hosting a national dialogue walk out of the UN? Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you for that, awkward Leon. That's the point I got to make here. Thank you. I was trying to codify that. Thank you. National dialogue. Walk out of UN. Exactly. Irony, huh? That's a short. I'll make a short on that. We use age to justify the shopping queue. What, so you can jump it? Up in 2 weeks ago, the butchers have the very best biltong. There are some good biltong out there. Sydney Sweeney's jeans. I feel 16 all the time, says Barbie. Oh, don't get me started on the Barbie girl thing. Yep. All right, guys, I'm going to break here, and we'll be back with the top of the hour. I'll be back with Chris Ayers. Chris, if you're here, I'll dial it. I'll open it up around 5 minutes to the top of the hour, okay? And it's going to be free flow. Chris and I haven't planned this. So I'm just going to talk about his experience with the world of transgenderism. All right. Thanks. Be sure you'll be automatically directed to that. If you want to take a break, go ahead and do one. I'm going to take a break, make a video, maybe grab something to eat, and get ready for it because I have not eaten today. All right. You guys, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. This was my third broadcast of the day, off for the fourth one here shortly. And we'll see you guys back here. Be sure to hit that like button. Can't we get to 500 likes? Easy enough to do. Cheers, everybody. Thanks. Enjoy what's left of your Sunday.